Hello, everyone. So I'm actually curious. Let's ask ourselves this question. What is unknown? This is one of my favorite words, unknown. For me, it's always brings learning. I see unknown as a gateway to questions, learning more, understanding more, and progress, growth. So this was a very interesting topic for me, and I always connect with it because from the very beginning and until, well, actually today, every day almost was full of unknowns. A lot of them are planned, unplanned. Planned ones, you feel comfortable with them because you kind of know what it is you're getting yourself into, but you have no idea what's going to happen when you actually get into it. And the unplanned ones, well, obviously, they are literally unknown from the beginning. In my perspective, and I don't know if you ever ask yourself this question, in all your life, what was the biggest unknown that you had to deal with? Someone says, well, I immigrated to a different country. The other person may say, well, I went to a different school, I started a new career. But at least in my opinion, we have that in common. All of our biggest unknowns was at the same time. I mean, not literally, by the way. I'm not talking about like today or yesterday. I'm talking about the day we were born. That is the biggest unknown. Imagine this. After 8 to 9 months of being in the comfort of the cocoon that is provided to you by your mother, that safe environment, you trust it already. You are so comfortable in it that when you're out of it, you want to go back into it. But that's actually a very interesting point. You come out, you're like a sponge. Whatever comes at you, you try to learn it. You try to absorb it. And that's where, and I believe that is the best time for everyone to deal with their unknowns. Because we are like a learning machine. Everything that we see, we want to understand. We are curious, we want to try. We even touch things that we have no clue about. I'm gonna actually give you an example. When my son was barely 2 and was just started walking, he got curious about the coffee mug I had in my hand. That thing was hot. Immediately he was like, and of course he doesn't talk at that time, comes in and literally just touches it. It burns. But now he learned. Okay, next time I'm gonna be careful. And the good thing and the beauty of that time that I actually highlight about learning is we don't have any judgment towards our environment. Anything that comes to us is new. We want to understand it, we want to learn it, we want to express our understanding about it, and we want to actually express what we understood to others. That's why kids talk a lot about immediately what they learned at the school that day. Whatever that was interesting, they come back home with it. In my case, it was very interesting. I had a very interesting childhood. I was lucky enough to be raised by parents who always prioritize education, training, physical training or mental training, doesn't matter. My dad was a coach, I think he still is, and my mom was a financial manager at the big bank. They always had this priority in their head that, okay, our kid needs to learn everything he or she can so they can grow for and be ready for a better future. Although something tells me they badly wanted me to be on my own 2 feet so they can get rid of me earlier. So, I mean, it kind of worked out for them. I left my household at the age of 22, 23, and that was the time that I actually took such a huge leap. For a Persian kid at the age of 20-something, usually we brag about our travels to Dubai, Turkey. I had none of that. Didn't go to any of those places. I mean, they are literally around Iran. So it was very easy travel, very affordable. I just was like, okay, you know what? If I want to experience adulthood, I'm gonna take a huge leap. Not Europe, I came to Canada. It was like such a huge leap. And when I was here, I was like, okay, let's explore. And that was actually where I realized this is such a huge opportunity. I actually started understanding why people immigrate. A lot of my friends are immigrants. Some of them, they actually helped me prepare for today, interesting enough. I'm not gonna tell you who, they are here. But story short, it was very interesting. Again, back to my childhood, my parents always focused on training and education. But again, that may have been a cultural thing. I don't know how much you know about my culture. I'm just gonna give you a blurb. By the age of 7, you are expected to know what you're gonna do for a living when, I know, right? And they give you 3 options, only 3. You can either be a medical doctor, not any doctor, medical doctor. Or you can be an architect, not an engineer, architect. And if you can't do any of those, you could be a lawyer. And imagine the surprise, my dad is very, very logical. My mom, she got really visibly upset when my uncle asked me, hey, Ramin, what do you want to do when you grow up? I don't know. And they were surprised. Oh, everyone choose one of those 3. How come he didn't say anything? Because I didn't know. Why should I have an answer for something that I don't know? I was barely 7, actually. So fast forward. I went through a school. I went through middle school, high school as well. Barely passed high school. Barely. When I say barely, I passed the entrance exam to the university 6 months before I graduated high school. Hold on, that's not being a factor for being a genius. Because I failed so many courses that I had to stay in high school to make sure before the end of summer, I passed all of the ones that I failed. So, okay. I started university, then halfway through, I decided to come to Canada. Very big leap, a huge unknown, and I learned one of my biggest lessons when I moved to Canada. Again, maybe it was my nature, maybe it was culture, or a lot of other things. But until certain time, it was very, very difficult for me to accept what I know already doesn't work here. Or what we used to do doesn't work here. Or what I did, for example, the way I even communicated via email or on the phone does not work here. And my biggest lesson was, don't rely on what you know already. Try to learn the new environment. This is a huge chance. It's open, you can explore, you can enjoy it, you can learn as much as you like. Be the kid you were 20-something years ago. And believe me, it worked like a charm. It worked like a charm. The prejudice, the judgment, I had to learn how to throw them away, and I really thank my mentors and my coaches. Some of them are still working with me. Yeah, I know. So imagine how bad I could have been if they weren't helping me. So what I'm actually sharing with you is when that judgment for learning is gone, when that prejudice is gone, when you are not too worried about how you are being compared with others in that unknown environment, that's where, at least in my case, that's how I excelled. And funny thing is, for a really, really long time, I did not know one of my biggest unknowns, and I'm gonna share with you actually. A lot of my friends know that already. So it's interesting, as I was going through my life here, a lot of the steps I took were unplanned unknowns, not planned. I didn't actually plan to teach at the university. If 20-something years ago someone had told me, you're going to be working as a dean with a bunch of amazing faculty and staff, I would probably laugh, because my goal coming to Canada was to work at Electronic Arts, making games. How did you end up here? Well, a bunch of unknowns that were brought to me by people who saw me from the angle that I could not see myself before. Professors, mentors, even students. Have you tried it? Maybe you can be good at it. That's how I ended up teaching. One of my professors said, try it. I think you're good, and if you fail, don't worry, you just stop teaching. And I didn't stop teaching. Same thing, even my current role, same thing. I got a call from a friend that I think this is the right fit for you. Consider it. Sure. It worked out well for me so far. And interesting enough, it took me 6 years to do my undergrad here in Canada. It took me 2 more years to do my first grad work, and of course, took another 6 years to do my PhD. And all of those steps, again, someone showed me the way, asked me and suggested me to try. And I'm like, okay, there's no judgment, there is no harm. And because I learned, if I lose, I'm not actually losing, I'm learning. You lose, you learn. You repeat, very likely you're not going to lose, at least the same way. And this actually worked out for me very well. So since I kind of wasted 12, 13 minutes of your time, I'm going to leave you with something that I actually heard very recently. I'm not much of a basketball person, but one time I was doing a flashback movie watching Coach Carter, and Google does a magnificent job. When you search basketball movie, it gives you a whole lot of other extra information. And I actually got this quote, and I'm going to share that with you, kind of like to end my talk on a good note. John Wooden, a basketball coach from long time ago, very, very long time ago, he said, the more we are concerned with the stuff we can't control, we do less with the ones we can. And that really resonated with me, because, hey, that's how life is. Instead of being worried about what we can't control, let's actually focus on what we can control. Let's understand what we cannot, because you learn, you can control it again. So that being said, all I have to say now is have a great rest of the Friday.